Here's the mistake that a lot of people make. People normally listen to the voice or voices of their past, their painful past, instead of the voice of their future. And the thing is, if you keep doing this, you're never really going to truly heal. It's going to be fake. And it's time for you to stop pretending like things are okay when they really are not. It's time for you to truly heal. Yeah.
My name is Sheilla Akwara. Let's talk, shall we?
Hey guys, my name is Sheilla Akwara, and I guide and mentor people to understand their journeys in life and to finding their true purpose, and I focus on different methods of doing so. Today, I wanted to talk about healing from your past. What is that? What does that look like? I was going to give a lot of information on this video, but I thought, you know what, let me break it down into 3-4 parts so that you could be able to understand somewhat this topic. This topic is very important because, especially with people who've gone through a painful past or journey, or dealing with depression, suicidal issues, unforgiveness, and so on. And you know, depression comes with rejection and loneliness, just a lot of baggage. This topic is really important for people who've dealt with all of that. For me, my healing process begun after my deliverance, right after my deliverance. You would think that when you get delivered, and to get delivered is to be set free from something, you would think that that's it, but actually that's the starting point for your healing. And healing is a process and it's a journey. So let me start by giving you this picture, because I love to use pictures so you could be able to understand better what I'm talking about when I'm speaking on this topic. Imagine that you're in a cage and there's a lion outside that cage, and the lion is circling, trying to look for an entry point. And as you're thinking about this picture, I want you to have the scripture in mind that the devil is like a roaring lion. He's just going to and fro, like he's going everywhere, up and down, seeking the one that he can devour. You're in this cage, and here is this lion circling the cage, trying to get an entry point. And there's no entry point, so he starts to knock on every bar as he goes around, just hitting every bar, because he's looking for that weak point so he could get in and get access to you. And so as he goes around, he's not getting that weak point until he reaches this one bar, and it's shaky. And the lion, what he decides to do is he decides to focus on that one pole, and he just keeps hitting that one pole, over and over and over and over, because he knows that this is the shaky point in an attempt for him to get in, right? In introducing this topic, what I'm going to address is that doorway. Where does your pain originate from? What is that trigger point? A lot of times, especially when you're dealing with childhood abuse and painful past, we don't normally address these doors. And so we leave a wide gap, and these doors become triggers later on because you never addressed them. You never closed that door. Sometimes you don't even know like which door it is. And so if you don't close the door, you're going to allow this lion to get in. And you know how negative emotions can be. They can be debilitating. Like, they can literally cripple you, especially if you allow yourself to sit like in them and continuously meditate on them. So we want to be able to address these doors today on this session. And as we go on, I'm going to give you some tips that we can use for you guys to be able to completely, permanently heal from your painful past. I use faith in God. So if you're interested in learning more about this topic from that perspective, keep watching and consider subscribing for more videos like this. So yes, you can detach yourself from the physical pain, right? If someone comes and slaps you right now, you have the choice of moving away from that person. You have the choice of walking away and not even allowing that person's energy to attach itself. But you still have the emotional baggage that came from that physical pain, right? Unfortunately, we're dealing with the aftermath, the after effects of the physical damage, the after effects of that painful moment, that painful event, that painful thing that was said to us. And this is what we need to address, but we need to address it from its entry point so we can completely and permanently close that door and never allow it to be an access point, something that will always rise up to provoke us into feeling negative, right? God uses painful moments, right, to grow us and to refine us, because remember the Bible in Isaiah says that we are refined in the furnace of affliction. And if you don't understand God's ways or how life works, whether you're a Christian or not, believe in God or not, the process is the same. Life will always be there to teach you certain things, and life teaches you through painful moments that you go through. But always remember that the devil is also present to try to give a different reaction, to provoke you into thinking that you're hated, you're not loved, you're unwanted, you're unworthy, you're just useless, because he understands like our frailty in just being human. Like we look at pain as this horrible thing that is here to destroy us, when God looks at pain in a completely different way. Pain carries purpose, and I did a video about that, so make sure you check it out. Link in the description below, and watch it. It will really help you to understand your journey in life. So God, and I'll talk about this later on, God is not the author of confusion in your life. He's not the author of a lot of these painful moments that we go through. He's really, really not. That's why you really have to observe the paths that you walk on, because some of these places that we go to, some of these things that we do, they invite attacks to our lives. They're open doors. And sometimes it's not even you. Sometimes it's something generational from your past that needs to be broken. And if it's not broken, it will keep causing a certain activity to happen in your life. There's such a thing as spiritual warfare, and a lot of people are not engaged in spiritual warfare when it comes to their lives. And so the devil is just roaming for free, like he's occupying your space without paying rent, and he's destroying your life and you're not even aware of it, or you don't have the tools needed to fight him off. So hopefully by you watching this video, you'll gain insight or two onto this topic. And in fact, there's a verse in the book of Isaiah 54:15. It says that if anyone does attack you, it will not be my doing. Whoever attacks you will surrender to you. Whoever attacks you will surrender to you. A lot of these things that we put, blame like on God, they're not from him. He never sent that attack to you. He never sent that painful moment to you. And this topic is just deep. So make sure you go to my website and sign for my one-to-one mentoring session, because everyone's journey is unique. And I would love to talk to you guys one-to-one so I could be able to really find out what's going on with you, so we can come up with a specifically designed formula to help you guys. If God is saying that if anyone does attack you, they must surrender to you, he's showing you that you have authority and dominion to defeat that painful moment, to defeat that painful thing that is trying to poke at you and provoke you, and that is always reminding you of these painful moments. But let's keep going on. Hopefully you'll understand as I keep talking. So what people do with all of their painful past and memories and so on is they never truly address it. They either push it down or they ignore it. And the danger in doing this is when you do not confront your pain, you leave room and space for it to confront you. And when that happens, it's not a good process. You know what I'm talking about. It's not good. So then what happens is you find that because you didn't confront your pain, every time it keeps popping up, you're living backwards. And the reason we don't have eyes at the back of our heads is because we're meant to move forward. We're not meant to move backwards, right? So don't give your pain eyes that it didn't have in the first place, guys. Don't. A lot of the painful moments that I've been through, I never thought that I was going to be able to overcome them, because for me, my first memory of pain was when I was like 6, 7 years old. So crazy. Like, I vividly just remember sitting outside like my house, and I felt like the kids at the estate, they didn't want to play with me, and I just always felt very different. I felt very alone. I used to have a lot of people making up stuff about me, and I'm a young kid. I don't know how to process all of these emotions and all of these things that are happening to me. And so as I grew older, I just came up with all of this negative baggage. And so I remember just telling God, like, no, we need to do something about this. Like, I am not finna live like this. I'm not, I refuse. And then began the painful journey and process where God was literally teaching me step by step how to identify my doors, how to identify those triggers associated with those doors, and how to close those doors. So keep watching, and please, if you're enjoying what you're listening to so far, please make sure you subscribe. By subscribing, you're helping my channel to grow and to reach people that need it the most. Thanks, guys. So these triggers, they need to be addressed, because this is how triggers work. This is just like one of the little examples. Suppose you meet someone a day and they tell you something painful. Maybe it's your mentor, maybe it's your friend, maybe it's someone in your family, and they call you something or they criticize you in a way that's just like, bro, why did you have to speak to me like that though? Like, why did you have to say that? And to you, it instantly becomes an issue, because that word that was told to you at that specific moment is the same word that was told to you 10 years ago. Or it's in the neighborhood of the same thing or experience that you went through 10, 20, 15 years ago. And it's an issue because you never closed that door years back. So then it becomes a trigger point today from what that person told you. I hope you're with me here. So all of the memories from the past come up and they affect you. Everything now becomes a today moment. It doesn't matter if it happened 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and it's all because you never closed that door. And it's interesting with some people, they're carrying pain and baggage from someone who's not even alive anymore. How can someone who's passed away have so much power over you? That's not normal. That's when you know like you have a problem. You need to like do some heavy, deep soul cleansing and purging and just let go. You need to let go. For me, it's very easy to define pain and storms in life, because for me, they fall under two categories. Everything you go to, it's either a lesson or a test. And remember earlier we said that God allows these moments to happen because He's refining us in the furnace of affliction. Watch the video, link in the description box. But the devil is also present to try to provoke a different reaction. God wants to provoke strength in you and to grow you in a spiritual way so you could be able to occupy the chair that He's created for you and the seat that belongs to you. But the devil wants to do the opposite. He wants to elicit fear and hopelessness in you so that you can give up and not do what you're meant to do in life. And so it's either a lesson or a test. And you can either choose to look through the eyes of faith or through the eyes of fear. You're never great at any one time. Either God is talking to you or the devil is trying to talk to you, and one of them is going to influence your thoughts. And you have to pick and choose. Every day when you wake up, you have choices in front of you. And I remember for me, my journey, I just got to the level where I was like, no, I'm tired of being burdened by all of my painful memories and all of like my past. And so I decided to change that narrative, and you need to do the same as well. The events you go through in life are linked to what you're meant to be in life. So for example, if you look at me, I went through about 20 years of dealing with depression and suicidal issues because God saw in the year 2020, the mental health crisis will hit an all-time high, and we need somebody to be able to guide people out of the darkness and into the light. But there has to be a sacrifice in anything and everything. And I believe that before we were sent out here on earth, we had an agreement with God. You might not remember it, But one day when you stand in front of your maker, he will show you that conversation that you guys had, spirit to spirit. I believe he saw your shining star and he was like, you know what, Sheila, I have an assignment for you. This is what I need for you to do. I'm going to send you on earth and I need you to do this task for me. It's going to be a lot of people going through issues with depression and suicide ideation. And I'm going to teach you about those moments and what it feels like and what depression does to people and how it feels like to be at that moment of suicide, but you won't die. I'm just going to use certain moments to teach you, but I want you, when you recover, remember there's a verse in the Bible that says, after you've turned, strengthen the brethren. After you've turned, strengthen the brethren. Peter, he almost gave up on God. And there was a moment before he even denied Jesus where the devil was like, let me go at him, Jesus, let me have this Peter of yours. And Jesus turned to Peter and he told him, like, the devil has requested to sift you like wheat, but I have prayed for you. And he told him, and Peter, after you've turned back, strengthen your brethren. So God knows that we're going to have moments in our walk with him where we feel defeated, where we feel like we're about to give up, where we feel like, God, are you even there? Because look at Peter. He walked with Jesus this whole time. And when Jesus was like, do you love me? He was like, yes, I love you. 3 times Jesus asked him, and he's like, why would you even ask me that? And he was like, because you're going to deny me today. And he's like, I will never deny you. And guess what happened? He denied Jesus. And I can only imagine how that made him feel like. But God foresaw all of these things happening. And God is so amazing because he understands our weakness. And as long as we keep placing ourselves in his hand, I don't believe that we fall. We don't fall to the ground. We fall in his hands. He's never, ever, ever let go of us. We're always here. So he told Peter, after you've turned back, strengthen your brethren. And so for me, he saw that, wow, these things that I'm going to put Sheila through, they're going to almost destroy her. But she's going to be strong enough because that's how I've created her. Whatever God puts you through, if he brought you through it, he can take you through it. If he brought you through it, you will be able to go through it. So he told me as well, Sheila, after you've turned back, from thinking that I hated you, from thinking that you're not wanted, from thinking that you've been disowned. After you've turned back, after you've renewed your mind and you actually know who I really am, strengthen your brethren. So now I look at my painful past as this is what I went through to help other people. Look at me, look at what I'm doing now. And I know that as some of you guys are watching, you're like, wow, that makes sense. That was the whole purpose. The purpose of my pain was not to destroy me. Just the same way you have to find the purpose in what you're going through. Don't just look at it as, ouch, ouch, why? Then you're missing the whole point and you're going to lengthen the process of you being in that situation. So remember when we started, I talked about the whole analogy of the lion. And so you have to address the entry point, the doorway. Sometimes people end up in painful situations and they blame God when God is not responsible in the first place. And it's because of the wrong path. You found yourself in a wrong place or you found yourself doing a wrong activity. You need to identify the door that caused that pain. You need to have somewhat of an idea because a lot of times people remain in a painful situation because if you are removed out of it now, it's going to be ineffective. You're going to find yourself back there. God is not going to remove you from a painful situation until you can understand where the door is, why you actually went through it, because there's a lesson in it. I don't want you to go back to that thing because it's going to cause you pain. So before I take you out of that painful situation, I want you to identify the door. Because remember, the devil is like a lion roaring to and fro. He's like looking for that entry point. And if you do not know that door and close it, it's going to be bad for you. So for example, there's a lot of people who are Christians, but they still want to engage in psychic activities. They still want to engage in tarot card reading, astrology, and all of these things. I'm not a Gemini. I'm a Jesus child. Like, I don't even look at those things at all because I don't ascribe my power to those things. I don't look for meaning from astrology or tarot cards. Don't mix powers. It's very, very dangerous. A quick example. Now, Joshua, when they went for battle this one time, God told them, don't touch anything from these people, destroy everything. But there was a man called Achan, Achan, and he actually took some of the objects and materials from the spoil and he took it to his tent and he hid it under the ground, right? And God told them, those things are accursed. They're an abomination to you guys. Don't touch them. Those are not for you guys. I have reserved something else for you guys. Don't touch those things. I am your God. Listen to what I'm saying. So everybody else listened, but this one man called Achan didn't. And what happened is the next time they went out for battle, they got destroyed. In fact, the next battle, Joshua was like, we don't even need to take like the whole army. This win is going to be so simple, like just take a few men. But they got destroyed and some of his men got killed. And Joshua is like, what's going on? Until God revealed to him that I gave you guys a commandment and one of you guys did not follow. And so for that, everybody else is suffering. That's why I always tell you guys, be very careful about the people that you have next to you. Some of your friends are actually defiled and they're an abomination. And an abomination is something that is worth loathing and hating, that deserves hating. Imagine if God looks at you as an object that deserves hating and loathing. So Joshua and the children of Israel had to put this man away. You could go ahead and go and read the whole story, but he actually died for the sins that he committed. And I'm giving this story to show that I want to link it to people who, for example, do things to do with psychic activity. You're always in nightclubs. You're in places and doing things that God sees as an abomination. When you touch those things, you allow attack and unnecessary pain into your life for no reason. So you need to be able to identify the door. When you're doing things like psychic activities and you're watching pornography and you're doing all of these things that are detestable in God's eyes, you're allowing for attacks to come into your life. And sometimes God allows those things to happen because He wants you to see that what you're doing is wrong. If He leaves you, to be honest, guys, God is so merciful and loving to us that He doesn't fully let the devil really touch His children. But if He leaves you to your power, to what you're doing, guys, you're going to be destroyed. So start identifying some of the things that you're doing that could be doorways to your pain, so you can be able to close those doors and start to live a life of happiness and fulfillment. Guys, doors matter. All doors matter. I'm sorry, that was such a shameless plug. All doors matter. No, it's so true. All doors matter. You really need to be conscious about the things that you're doing and the places that you're going. What is that door? Look back at your life. There are things that when you were not really in a full relationship with God that you did. Did you pray against those things? Did you refute them? Did you completely break those covenants? You need to go and engage into spiritual warfare. And sometimes there's no reason. Sometimes I've asked people, why are you depressed? And they can't even tell me why. There's no reason why they're depressed. And for such moments, you just need to go into spiritual warfare and you need to attack your pain from the spiritual realm. So much to say on this topic, but I didn't want to make it this long. Make sure you subscribe. When you have funny friends around you that carry funny spirits, imagine you're hanging out with people who are doing witchcraft and you're aware and you're like, you know what, that's what you choose to do, that's your life, I'm not gonna judge you, that's fine. But remember, when you associate yourself with people who are constantly defiling themselves with these things that God looks at as an abomination, then you're also making yourself an abomination. When you go to places that are an abomination, you're making yourself an abomination. When you do things like engaging in astrology and psychic activities, you're making yourself an abomination. Your healing journey begins when you can identify your doors. Identify your doors. When you identify your doors, we can be able to effectively close it. That's the whole aim of this video. Because we need to deal with those triggers. Those are the triggers. What is that trigger point? It comes from your childhood. What happened? We need to trace back. Sometimes you need to revisit your past to build your future. So we need to identify those doors and we need to close those doors once and for all. Find out that entry point so you can deal with it. Confront your pain so it doesn't have to confront you. And the beginning is to identify the origin and to also identify the paths that you've possibly taken in life that could be keeping that depression still there. You cannot be a Christian and say that I'm depressed. No, guys, because then that means that God is limited in his power. How do we pray and lift our hands to a God saying like, you're so mighty and you're so strong, Lord, thank you so much for saving me, but you're in pain. Every day you're in pain, like you're not healing. That's not true. Our God comes with power. I remember one time God was telling me, never doubt my power. Our God comes with power. He will comfort you as he heals you, but you need to recognize his power. And sometimes some of the paths that we take, some of the doors that we take, they're entry points for funny things to come into our lives, and they're entry points for our pain to keep existing. So identify your door so your healing can truly begin. Such a deep topic, but I'm going to do a part 2, part 3, and all of that. Listen, I help others heal and get to that aha moment. So if you feel like your issue is so like intricate in different ways and so complex and you need more like one-to-one attention, head over to my website at sheillakwara.com and sign up for my mentor healing sessions so we can be able to get to the root of your problem. Just check out my calendar and be able to just register and sign up for those sessions so we can be able to deal effectively with what you're going through. Okay, guys? So make sure you come back, subscribe so you can get alerts for the next video, and make sure you come back so that I can be able to tell you some of the things that you can do to overcome your pain. This was just like a little intro. This is going somewhere, and it's going somewhere great. So if you're going through any painful moment, please guys, hang in there and just take this journey with me. So let's take this journey together so we can heal, right guys? Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell, and make sure you like the video and share this video on your Instagram, on your Facebook, so that other people who need to hear it can be able to hear it. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Until next time. Later, soldiers.
My name is Sheilla Akwara. Let's talk, shall we?